Hello everybody and welcome to a lap guide around the Sebring International Circuit in the BMW M4 GT3 in Le Mans Ultimate. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff of how this car behaves and how you can extract the most out of it, let's first go over the circuit. Sebring International, being one of the bumpiest places on earth that you can have a race in, is rather interesting because it's made of concrete. This means that the grip you have is less than expected and it's very bumpy, and the curbs need to be abused in a certain manner in order to gain lap time. The BMW itself really likes to use those curbs, and as we approach the end of our lap time, we will see how you can get around it as quickly as possible. The outlap, we go wide on entry, on exit, and now let's get started. Let's turn on the telemetry, and here we go. So, fourth gear, stay in fourth gear. The car has a very high rev limit. It's best to stay in that gear rather than to upshift. Now, in normal circumstances, it will be better to upshift a bit sooner, but because we're staying in fourth, there is enough of the rev range. It's best to leave it at that. Braking into turn 1, this is the exact point where I brake, and it's at the end of the wall, so to say, right before it, or around 20 meters before it is where you would want to start braking. For turn 1, this is how we approach it. Like, we go initially very hard on the brake, but you want to trail brake into it because it's a very long corner, very wide corner that tightens rapidly on exit. So as we approach it here, we turn in, and after this point we modulate our throttle not to push the outside wheels too much. This goes for both the front and the rear, and as soon as we approach the cone and board here, we go full throttle. It's vital that you have a good angle of attack on the entry, so you can use a lot of the circuit on exit. In the Man Ultimate, the game allows you to go as wide as possible on exit, as long as you keep two wheels on the inside the white lines. That means that, like I am doing right now, even more so, you are free to use the dirt. It's not realistic, as currently we do not have dirt effect on our tires, but this will not give you any track limit warning, so feel free to use it. As we exit it, we approach turns 2 and 3, and there are numerous angles that you can do this. I've seen people that go wider and then try to have a straighter car. I want to have a shortest run possible, which is why I cut it here, and I start to brake right before the 200 feet board, I think, or yard board. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not meters. Fully on the brakes, use the ABS to your advantage, and as soon as you turn in, we start to slowly lift out of our braking, and we turn in. As soon as we turn in, our goal is to get as near as possible, or on top of the apex even, at the exit of the corner. So as you can see it from this angle, you can see it best. I'm avoiding it. I want to get on the apex, on the on the curbing on exit. This will help out the rotation and the angle of attack for the subsequent corners. You do not want to get more on the curbs because this will unsettle the car. The BMW, as mentioned, really likes to take the curbing unlike others, and you want to use this part of the circuit here as long as you keep two wheels inside the yellow line. This is in this particular car, this will not lose you time, so it's best to keep it as it is, and keep it in second gear and prepare for the trail braking that lies ahead into turn 4. We go a bit wide on entry because this car is already very understeered to begin with, so you want to have a wider approach. We trail brake yet again, and same as 2 corners back, we want to get as close as possible to the apex as late as possible, and this is how I do it. But it's worth noting that you never want to get on this curb because it will rapidly unsettle the car and push you wide, which will lose you 2 to 3 tenths. It's that bad. So avoid the curb. It's better to go a bit wide rather than to stay on it. To even touch it, sorry. On exit, we use all of the curbing, but I don't think it's showcasing that well on the exit here. If you drop the tires onto the dirt, the drop is heavy. It's over 5 centimeters or 10 centimeters of a dip, meaning that the car will bottom out no matter the vehicle. Like the BMW is one of the highest riding vehicles and it will bottom out, so avoid getting outside of the dirt, unlike turn 1, for example. So keep it on the curbing and you would be fine. Here you can either get off the curbing or use a bit of dirt. It's fine. No worries, as long as you keep it tight here, you go. Approaching the end of sector 1 into the hairpin, we will brake right before the 300, as you can see here. So we brake hard on the brakes and we turn in rather late. We turn in and we're still abusing the ABS, and only after we slow the car down, we let off the brakes, so the weight shifts a bit more towards the back and we have a bit of stability. One thing to note about this corner is that, like the previous one, but this one is even more important, never ever touch this this line, this sausage here, right here, because it's insane how much that can push the car, because we're going at such a slow rate. The car doesn't have the momentum to climb over it, and you will not be gaining time. So avoid it at all costs, even if it means, like me, that you will not get as close as possible to it. Trust me on that. As we get on the exit, we try to get on the power as soon as possible, and 2 wheels on the dirt usually is the way to go. You can stay off of it, but in GT cars that are quite heavy and quite high, you can dip 2 wheels here without any issue. The game will not penalize you for this. On exit, we stay as tight as possible, both on these 2 kings here, which are full throttle with ease, and we prepare ourselves for the next braking zone. This braking zone is at the 300 board, and we brake right here, as you can see, fully onto the brakes, get on the ABS, and this is where the BMW comes into its own. With many other cars, you would be avoiding this curbing here, but the BMW is such a heavy beast that you can easily just mount it, and while keeping it in second gear, you can use that to your advantage to rotate the vehicle. On exit, we go hard on the throttle, because the front tires are the one doing all the work. The rears are pretty saved, so to say, and we use the same approach for the next corner, where we cut it on the inside in order to minimize track distance. For the Cunningham here, we simply just try to approach it as straight as possible, as straight as you can in this scenario. And when you are climbing the curbing right here, it's the most important part is that you never ever let your wheels climb onto the curbing. As you can see here, like this is the line that is the absolute maximum. If the wheels climb over it, the car will bottom out, or the curbing will wash you wide and you will lose time or even spin. It's that easy to do so. So at most, do what I did here, and the BMW is a very torquey machine, so keep it in third gear, turn in, and same as before, try to get as close as possible to this curbing, but do not climb it. If you climb it, same as the hairpin in sector 1, it will push you very wide on exit, and you don't want that if you want to maximize your track width and you are already committed to a certain trajectory. On exit, it's important that you do not dip your wheels onto the dirt, and even in lower riding cars, it's even advisable to not put the wheels over the center of the curbing, because as you can see, it's heavily sloped towards the downwards. And in the BMW, you can do it as I do here, but keep in mind that in other GT cars, you might not be able to do so, and in hypercars most definitely. This is the end of sector 2, and we keep it flat, upshift at the reds, and keep it as tight as possible for the shorter circuit. And again, now we are into sector 3, and we brake again at the 300 board. Heavy on the brakes initially. These cars have ABS, don't be afraid to use it. And we turn in with ABS, and we now trail brake into this corner. GT cars need to take this line, which means that you go over the curbs with your inner wheels, just so that they sort of dig into the surface a little better. So if you commit to this corner, the most important bit is that you get your front your inside wheels over the curbing, so the car has the grip to rotate itself out of it again. Same approach for the next corner. As you can see here, I'm clearly over the curbing because the GT cars run pretty high. I think that the minimum is 5 centimeters on the front, and that's more than enough for this curbing to be taken like so. And unlike in iRacing, you have to keep with all 4 wheels inside of with 2 wheels inside the circuit here. You cannot go wider here for a wider circuit. Keep 2 wheels on the circuit at all times, and you will be good to go. For this corner, we have the same approach. You try to maximize it, but be very, in these 2 sequences, the track limits are very strict, so use your curbing to your advantage for the optimum line. As you can see, one of the most important parts here is that you get on the throttle as soon as possible. Like even mid-apex, I'm already full throttle here. This is the TC kicking in for me. Right about now, I'm full throttle. This is the TC managing certain stuff, but I'm still full throttle. And now that I exit the corner, the TC disengages fully right about now, and I'm still full throttle and trying to go as straight as possible, while also not dipping the wheels over into the dirt, because this will slow you down. And we are on the back straight, ready for the sunset corner, the most bumpy corner of the circuit. And you can have 2 approaches in this. You can have a safer approach or a riskier approach. In this particular lap, you will see my safer approach that I would normally use for a race, because I believe that is the way to approach certain corners. Like gaining half a tenth to a tenth is not advisable when you are trying to aim for consistency. What do we do? At the 300 board, so to say, or even at 200, depending on how you approach it, but I like to turn in a bit early. At the 300, I try to aim the car roughly to have near to the wall, not as close as possible. You don't need to make it that close, but yeah, you can see here that I try to follow the racing line with a bit more leeway towards the inside. As soon as the surface changes, I go hard on the brakes and then you straighten out. There are very important and big bumps here that will try to unsettle the car. So as you can see them, one of them is here and here and here and here. You try to to avoid them as much as possible, but at the same time do not run wide and lose on your lap time, because you have to go at a much greater distance. So we avoid those, staying in third gear, and we just pray that the car simply finds the grip over the bumps. It usually does. The car is set up in a very nice manner, very predictable manner, and you can approach it in that regard. As soon as we get under the bridge, you go full throttle and yeah, push the rears as much as possible on exit, and we will try to get as close as possible to the wall in order to maximize our circuit width and continue on as it may. Close as possible to the wall, and in qualifying it's best to stick it a bit towards the left for better lap time. Just leave it in fourth, and that was a lap around Sebring. If you want to see more of that, please let us know if you have any comments or questions about my approach to Sebring in a GT3 car on the Man Ultimate. Please do let me know, and I will try to get through all of your comments as quickly as possible. And that will be that. Hopefully you enjoyed that one, and see you soon. Goodbye.